now we're going to deal with this silly CGC slab that's keeping me from... So, cardboard. Another cardboard. Clamp. Safety first. Did I free it yet? I think I did. Did I damage it? I don't think so. Is there an easier way to get in here? Probably. Probably pry this apart. I'm sure there's a trick to it. But I wanted to use the saw. I've done this one other time, and back then I just used a razor knife. But this seems to be a little more brittle plastic than what they had back then. I could be wrong. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe. We're getting there. I haven't destroyed it yet. So I think that you can do most of this actually with a stubby flat. I'll probably speed up or edit some of this video just to speed things along for you. Because I haven't done a lot of these, so I'm probably going slower than I need to. Once it starts cracking, I mean, if your intention was to piss someone off, then slap their favorite book. That's cool. That'll work. So, you know, if you have young eyes, it will focus on near objects. Or if you're not too stubborn to go get your prescription readers, then you could probably do this a lot faster and probably a lot safer. But no one ever accused me of being safe. Now I'm told that, and I can tell by looking at it because I've dealt with enough Mylar, that what's inside is actually Mylar. Which I totally approve of Mylar, but this version of Mylar is completely hermetically sealed, which is not what you want in something you intend to read, or that you maybe want someone else to read. Let's see if I can, one more shot at tearing this beautiful comic book up. I think I need a new blade in here, but Mylar is tough stuff. Still not quite in there. Still haven't broken the seal. once I get this out, I will put this in a proper Mylar bag that one can use over and over and not have to risk tearing their beautiful comic book up to get it in and out of. There we go. Now, I did not damage this book. Now, is this an 8.5? Just looking at the cover and seeing that, I'm thinking an 8. So if you're a follower of this channel, if you've been subscribed for a while, then you know that I generally try to promote as much positivity as possible here. But, so I've held back on making a video about CGC for quite a while, but you know, now is the time. I thought I'm trying to finish my Godzilla collection, the singles of that, and I have about half of it or more collected already, but I've got low grade copies, best stuff I could find, and it doesn't look like an Omni's ever going to happen there. So, you know, so I had some birthday money, you know, available to me, so I placed a graham cracker order. You saw me unbox that in the other video by now, probably. But anyway, you know, I could have got a copy of number 1, you know, and what I was looking for was 8 and above, you know, 8.0 or above. And I could have probably got one on eBay for, you know, probably 70, 75 bucks maybe. Maybe it might cost me a little more than that. They're getting hard to find in the high grades. So, but Graham Cracker Comics had a CGC slab copy, an 8.5, for $125. I mean, to me, that's a lot of money to spend on a single. And if I didn't have just sort of free money for this purpose, I wouldn't do it. But I thought, well, you know, it's $30 to $50 more than I'd have to pay just to get the slab. I don't want the slab. I hate slab comics, but I figure, well, that'll make fodder for a good video. So I'll pay a little more, and I could probably assume that it's going to be an 8.5. I say probably because the CGC has been tested many times right here on YouTube. You can look those up, and they've failed. And what I mean by tested is where somebody sends the same comic book in, waits so long, sends it back in again with no change in the actual condition, and they get different results. Now that shows you that this is not something you can trust. So let's talk about the CGC. This is a grading and slabbing service, first started in 2000. CGC stands for Certified Guarantee Company. Okay. I feel like slabbing comic books is bad for readers, it's bad for collectors, and even dealers. And here's why. Sealing a book in any kind of any kind in hard plastic that cannot be removed easily, at least, makes little sense to me. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. It's bad for readers because you can't read them if they're sealed up. Yeah. It's bad for collectors because you cannot judge the condition yourself. You can see the cover. You can see the back cover. It's all you can see. You know, in comic books, the old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover, really, really, really is the truth. It's bad for dealers because they can't judge the condition themselves. For the same reason, it's bad for collectors. This is bad for everyone. Who is this good for? Who is slabbing good for? Well, to me, it's only good for the company charging you for the service. That's it. I think it's bad for the industry as a whole because it treats comics like some kind of basic commodity to be bought and sold purely for investment purposes rather than an art form, which is what it is. Like I said earlier, they've been tested and failed numerous times. But grading is very subjective. And we have guidelines. I mean, most people, most dealers, most collectors are basing that on the guidelines in the Overstreet comic book price guide that comes out annually. Comes out annually, but the text telling you how to grade is mostly unchanged for many, many decades. Why is it unchanged? Because it's the accepted standard. You know. Interestingly, my buddy Matt Halls was telling me the other day, we were discussing this very subject, and he said that the CGC, they don't say that they use the Overstreet guidelines. They don't say what they use. It's a mystery. But certainly the numbering seems to be the same nomenclature that we're used to, you know. See, I hate slabbing. I have one open before. I have opened one before, rather. I had a Conan #1 that I got off eBay, and I cut that thing right out. I didn't have a YouTube channel there. I thought as I was doing it, man, I should get this on video, but I didn't do it. I did this time. See if we can get that to focus. But this is the one I opened up in the video. They said that my copy of Godzilla #1 was an 8.5 off-white to white pages. Well, no way that book is an 8.5. The cover, the lower staple, or the lower staple point on the cover has the cover itself is separated on one side of the staple. So it's attached at the other side of the staple. And then you have this little piece of the cover that kind of is freely open. I'll try to get a shot up here so you can see it. But I took some shots of the thing in the slab before I did what I did and took it out. Because some would probably say I was kind of rough getting it out of the slab. And I was a little rough. But you know what? I didn't cause this. That was there. And I have the photos to prove it. Now, when they sealed it in the plastic and in the Mylar inside the shell, that little flap of paper was pushed forward, so down. So it looked a lot better than once I got it out and seen that it's actually not attached. And it's a real bummer. And as for them saying that the paper was off-white to white, I would say it's off-white at best. I would not say off-white to white. I would go with just maybe off-white. The other issues of Godzilla I got in that graham cracker order, the other three, were not CGC. And graham cracker gauged them as, frankly, as VF to /NM, very fine to near mint. And guess what? All three of those were near mint, easily. I would move them up into the near mint category rather than the VF to near mint. But that's how you do it. That's what a good dealer does. A good dealer undergrades his books and over-delivers for the customer. That's what Matt Hoss does, and that's what Graham Cracker Comics does, from my experience. So, was this book I've got now, this Godzilla CGC #1, what grade is it? I'm not sure. It's certainly not an 8.5, I can tell you that. Yeah, I'm not happy about this. There's no recourse I can do. It's not Graham Cracker's fault. They didn't CGC slab it. They bought the slab, assuming it was correct. And I bought it on good faith that it would be correct. But guess what? Not correct at all. And I've heard them screw up the opposite way, too, where someone sends in a book that is easily, say, a 9. And they come back and it says 7.5. They don't know why. They don't agree. Like I said, they've been tested. You could take that book that graded a 7.5, you think's a 9, wait 3 or 4 months, send it back in again, they put a different guy on it, he says it's a 8.5 or a 9.5. Total crapshoot. Grading a comic book is very subjective. You can't trust the CGC. What you could trust is your own eyes and your own judgment as somebody that's been collecting a long time and someone that knows how to read the guidelines. Open up the book, read the text, judge for yourself. Rant over, and that's how I feel about the CGC.